Everybody's waiting for you.
Well folks, what do you think? This is the cabin. I've decided from now on every new episode of Affro's Curiosities will take place here. And not to mention my mum was telling me that this room had to be used, so here I am. It's a good thing that we've got all this lovely new room to play with because the game in question today needs it. And here it is folks, this is Dancing Stage Party Edition.
Dancing Stage Party Edition was released on the PS1 in 2002. Dancing Stage is the European name to the popular Dance Dance series and serves as a spin-off too, since the European versions of these games are not entirely the same. I first played this in 2002 on one of my demo discs and I fell in love with it. Since then I've played it in the arcades when possible, and I've tried older and newer versions of the games. These games used to be a talking point for many people, but sadly today, the Dancing Stage name is hardly mentioned anymore, almost as if people are ashamed of it nowadays.
As for me, well, I still love the games and I've rediscovered my love for this series, no in part due to Dancing Stage Party Edition. Anyway, let's not talk about this anymore, we've got a lot to cover, so let's go and see what this game is all about.
To understand the history of the Dance Dance series, one must go back into the past and understand the philosophy and beginnings of the game. So, our story today begins in 1997. Konami made a music division called the Games and Music Division. Yeah, very original title, Konami. The company was made specifically to focus on making new and interesting music video games. From your typical controller-based ones to games where players had to move their body to play and much more. There was one game where you got to be a DJ and another game which allowed for the use of motion sensors. You can see how these principles on game design became the recipe which allowed for some of the game's global success. The question is, where does Dance Dance come into this? Well, shortly afterwards, Beatmania was released from the company. This rhythm game had players become a DJ and use actual turntables to control the game. This game was vital as the late 1990s music gaming boom just happened, and this video game helped Konami establish themselves in this new craze. Finally, in 1998, the company changed their name to Bemani and worked on somehow making a game where the players would use their feet to control the game. In the end, this is what the team came up with. The players stand on a dance platform or stage and hit coloured arrows laid out in a cross with their feet to musical and visual cues. Players are judged by how well they time their dance to the patterns presented to them, with scores ranging from perfect, great, all the way to boo, which means an arrow was missed.
The game was a smash hit in Japan. No matter where you went in the arcades, people practically saw Dance Dance everywhere. It was that popular. It was shoved down people's faces literally. It was incredible. The question is though, would this level of success be replicated in the Western world?
Well, after releasing the arcade game onto the Sony PlayStation in Japan in 1999, Konami went for it, releasing Dance Dance in some form across the world. Luckily for Konami, the series was an instant smash hit, garnering critical acclaim for the quality of the music on offer and the simple yet addictive gameplay on offer. We loved it here, and just like the Japanese, we Westerners were sucked into this. Dance Dance is still going today. While not as popular as it used to be, 20 years on, it is still a very successful arcade video game, one which has a massive cult following now. Of course, there were many games released too, and now these are sought after by many fans of the series.
Now this game right here is actually a European repackage of the American game Dance Dance Revolution Konamix. Other than some songs being taken out and added in to this European port, the games are identical. That being said, the European port has way more songs than the American game. This game has 51 songs in total, which is absolutely mind-blowing for the time. I can't think of many CD games that had that many songs packed onto a single disc. That being said though folks, it's time to see once and for all what this game is all about. So join me as we dive headfirst into Dancing Stage Party Edition.
When we first start the game, you can see the arcade roots of this game. Lots of bright colours, funky music, simple yet stylish menus, and so on. It's a strong start and it gets better. There is a ton of modes to choose from, and as stated before, many different songs to choose from. This game has a lot going for it, but admittedly there isn't a ton to talk about outside of what's featured in this edition of the Dancing Stage series. For the most part, I checked out and played the game mode, which is essentially a 1 to 2 player game mode. This mode offers single, double and versus modes. Single is where you play by yourself in 3 stages trying to get the best score possible, and you can choose from a variety of characters and music genres. You can use the D-pad to play, or the face buttons, which do work better for the tougher button combinations, at least for me. Oh, and if you're very lucky, you can use an actual dance mat, which I don't have, so. Versus is a 2-player mode, and double is a bit confusing. I think it means one player has 2 dance mats or 2 controllers in my case, because the one side was working and the other did not. I'd love to try this mode again when I know what the heck is actually happening.
As for the songs on offer, well, there's a massive variety of them, and they have genres such as, trance, dance, soul, R&B, and so on. It's absolutely phenomenal. It makes you think that you went into your drawer and found your iPod from the year 2001. It's absolutely incredible. And to show you how good the soundtrack really is, here's a few of my favourite songs from Dancing Stage Party Edition. Allow me to put the soundtrack to you in a different way. When even the slow songs are captivating, exciting, and are fun to listen to, then as a composer or a music director of the game, you've done an excellent job in making all kinds of songs accessible to the legions of people who might possibly play the game.
There is a reason to keep playing too. After each successful completion of the 3 stages, you can actually unlock more songs. It's really cool, as this makes you wonder how many songs are hiding away on the disc. Bravo to Konami on that front. That was a good idea to not have every song on display straight away. As for the difficulty, there's 3. Basic, which will work for most people and is the easiest setting. Trick, which is the medium mode, can introduce more arrow types as well as speeding up the overall flow of arrows. And Maniac, which, other than being my new favourite word, is indeed pure insanity. Good luck if you choose to play this mode. I personally couldn't get past even 1 round. As you all know already, The game's objective is to simply press buttons with the corresponding upcoming arrows and match it to the beat or rhythm of the music playing. Simple and addictive. It's all helped by the wonderful music and the graphics showing the dancers dancing in the background. It makes the whole experience feel like watching a music video. Oh, and the DJ in this. Oh, I love him.
I was moved! Thank you for the ultimate dancing. It brought tears to my eyes. Everybody is cheering! You're a dancing hero!
I have no idea who the man is, but he never fails to entertain me. For me, I've called him DJ Jeff, but I really want to know who the guy voicing this man is. If I ever met the guy in question, I'd love to say, "Sir, you are the best in-game DJ ever." His quotes on dancing are simply incredible. I wonder who on earth came up with these lines.
I can see a dream in your dance. I can see tomorrow in your dance. We can call it our hope. Give it your best shot. That was cool. You've just become a hero.
I will say this, folks, there are some other modes I would love to gander into, so let's have a look and see exactly what they have to offer to the player. I will warn you though, I do recommend the dance mat because, well, basically there's going to be a lot of dancing and it might get a bit crazy and hot in this room. So first off, I tried the solo mode in the game, and you get a choice of 4 panels, 6 panels and 4 panels with a controller, which I have no idea what that means. So I tried the regular 4-panel mode and you get these gold kind of icons, which is a nice change, but it's still the basic game. But then I tried the 6-panel mode. Oh my god, whoa, what a change. 6 panels, this is way more fun. And if you're worried about the directional pads, which are diagonal in this case, you got the obviously up, down, left, right, and then you got the 2 diagonals, you can use the L1 and the R1 buttons to act as your diagonal buttons along with the face buttons, which are triangle, square, circle and X. So thankfully the designers thought ahead on that one and made sure that the player could still use the controller comfortably. The other reason why I like this solo mode along with the 6-panel mode is because it just changes up the formula enough to make it fresh and exciting to the player long after they've used the 4-panel mode over and over again.
I also noticed that sometimes you can play as female dancers too. This was pretty cool if you ask me, but of course it does not change anything. After trying some other modes out to see what they offer, including the workout mode, which I feel would make sense if I had a dance mat.
Your dance was so great, it's like sunshine on a cloudy day.
The lesson mode here can teach beginners how to play step by step. It's cool it's included, but the game is so simple I don't think this was really needed. Heck, at the beginning, the game had a brief tutorial that explained perfectly how to play. I don't know, I suppose this was meant for extra security in case a player had to deep further into how the game worked, but I don't know, I think this was overkill if you ask me.
Well folks, that was my in-depth look at Dancing Stage Party Edition. I've got to say folks, the game surprised me. I mean the variety, the difficulty settings, the soundtrack, the addictive gameplay, the variety of modes, and the fact that you can have an optional dance mat attached to the game as well for that amazing full body experience is just incredible. I've got to say folks, this is exactly why the Dancing Stage or Dance Dance series was very successful, at least initially. Thankfully, the game does maintain an arcade presence and it has a cult following now. Unfortunately folks, the games on the other hand have not been so great. Since 2008, at least in this country, there has been no new Dancing Stage games, and I have no idea what the condition of the series is like in America and Japan. I suspect in Japan it's still doing well, especially in the arcades, but here the dancing craze of the 90s and the early 2000s is long gone, and unfortunately, so is Dancing Stage. I will say though folks, if you can find this game for cheap, and you can, I do highly recommend it, and it's a great way to see what life was like back in the 2000s. So, it's not all that bad. But folks, I want to know from you, what do you think of Dancing Stage Party Edition, or the Dance Dance series as you guys would call it? Do you like it? Did you ever play it as a kid? Would you go into the arcades today to give it another go? Or, like me, would you get the home releases and have it in your home? Let me know, and until then folks, I will see you in my next video.